You've been told to put rock or If you've been told to put rock or gravel at the bottom of your containers to improve drainage, I hope you didn't listen. Here's why. Water will not readily move from a fine textured medium like potting soil to a coarse textured medium like rock or gravel. Instead of moving all the way through the container, the water will stop at the level just above the rocks. The water will then begin to move laterally, completely filling all the micropores, resulting in a super saturated layer that will not move through those rocks until more water is added and gravity causes it to be pushed through that bottom layer. So instead, ditch the rocks and choose a container with adequate drainage. Choose the correct potting mix for whatever you're planting and let at least the first few inches of soil dry out between waterings. If you've been told to put
Here's a garden center hack that'll help you save a couple bucks on soil. So not every soil bag arrives to the garden center in perfect condition. They'll usually take all these damaged bags and place them into one area and mark them down. So I acted up and got 4.
I would take more if I had more room in my car.
I usually look for bags that are close to full to get the most bang for my buck. Like this one, I mean, it's just missing a couple scoops.
And these same soil bags are usually $4.48.
But at the register, these were marked down to $3.33. Not much, but every dollar counts on your garden budget. Here's a garden.
I'm back with more Broke Girl garden hacks. Let's go. If you're low on space and you have large plants like tomatoes that like to be planted deep, 5-gallon buckets work perfect. If you get lucky, you can find 5-gallon buckets on Marketplace for free. If not, they're still pretty inexpensive from the hardware store. You can get free mulch. In certain areas, you can go on shipdrop.com and you can find someone that's going to drop some mulch to you for free. Or you can find your local lumber or tree trimming company and they will probably have some free mulch that they can deliver straight to your house. Get free pallets. You can find free pallets. All of this is pallet wood, and my pallet wood came from a cabinet maker that's local to me. All of his cabinets come pre-made on these large pallets, and he gives them away for free. Auctions are a great place to find gardening tools for very inexpensive. There's even auctions online that you can find all over the United States, and they will ship the product straight to you after you purchase it.
Is winter ruining your gardening plans?
Growing gardens outdoors can be hard. It's winter, there's no sunlight, etc. With Aero Garden, you have the power to grow.
If you don't have $250,000 to go to the bottom of the ocean, these hacks are for you. They're completely free hacks using things you already have laying around the house. Just poke 2 holes at the sides of the bottle and stick the Q-tips in. And as you can see, when I lift it, it drips. Also, I made a video the other day that you guys felt you needed to flood the comments to tell me that Jesus loves me. I don't care. This man been obsessed with me for forever, and it's weird because I don't like him back. He's been getting randos to come to my comments, to come to my house and everything to tell me he loves me, and I've been saying I don't love him back. It's weird. Also, use these as greenhouses to germinate seeds. They're amazing.
Cut tomatoes into chunks, put them in soil, water them regularly, and soon you'll have delicious tomatoes. Put a paper towel in a vegetable basket, place coriander seeds on it, cover with another paper towel, spray with water, and place it in a bowl of water. After some time, you'll have an endless supply of fresh coriander. Take an egg carton, cut a hole in the top, place your green onions in it, and then water them, and you'll have an endless supply of green onions. Stick some toothpicks into a sweet potato and place it in a cup of water. As the sweet potato absorbs the water, it will quickly sprout leaves. Don't throw away the root end of carrots. Soak them in water, wait for them to sprout and grow roots. Then plant them in soil, and you'll have an endless supply of carrots. Drill holes in a bucket, fill it with soil, then stick cloves of garlic into the holes and pour some water in. After some time, you'll have an endless supply of garlic sprouts. Take a handful of green beans from the supermarket, put them in a jar of water to soak, then cover with a layer of cheesecloth, and in 2 days, you'll have tasty bean sprouts. Cut the bottom of celery, stick some toothpicks in the base, and soak it in water. In a few days, you'll have an endless supply of celery. Pour soil into a storage box. Place uneaten mushrooms neatly into the soil. Cover with a layer of coir, spray with water, and then cover with cling film. In a couple of days, fresh mushrooms will grow. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Follow me and learn new tricks.
Here's the world's easiest way to grow potatoes. Last year I grew more than 300 pounds of potatoes using this method, and it couldn't be simpler. all you gotta do is take your potato, take one that's sprouting like this if you can, put a whole bunch of hay on the ground, dig a hole in the hay, put the potato down, and cover it up. Water it in good, and you're gonna get a big potato plant and a huge yield of potatoes. Now when it comes time to harvest, all you gotta do is move the plant aside, spread the hay, and you're gonna find a whole mess of potatoes. I put this hay down a couple weeks ago and watered it really well so it can start breaking down and releasing those nutrients into the soil. Even if you're starting with fresh hay, all you gotta do is move the hay aside until you get to the dirt, place your potato on the dirt. That's all, no digging, and cover that sucker up. Use a lot of hay. You want it to be like 6 inches deep. Water it really good the first time, then it'll be good for weeks. Now the reason why this works is because the straw insulates the ground so well and keeps it moist so the potato can keep growing. But this even works in poor soil because hay is full of nutrients and the microbes in the soil start breaking down the hay, decomposing it so it makes a natural compost right on top of your potato plant. When I harvested last year, I missed a couple of the red potatoes, so they overwintered and now they're growing up again. So I'm actually just gonna transplant these ones to where my potato patch will be this year. All you gotta do to start a plant here is move the hay, put your plant down, nuzzle in the hay around the roots, water it well, and you're good to go. Say you're in a long-term survival scenario and you want to plant crops. Maybe you've bugged out to the mountains or whatever, and you want to grow crops, but you can't bring any good soil and all you have is bad dirt. And you can't bring in any hay either. What you can do then is cut the native plant life, cut the grasses and stuff, lay them right where you cut them, and use that as your hay. That method is called slash mulching. It has thousands of years of use. It's one of the most regenerative ways of gardening that there is. And in no time at all, now it only took me about 10 minutes to get those 30 potatoes planted. And my absolute favorite part about this method is it suppresses weeds. I'm not gonna have to come through and weed all this because there's no exposed soil for the weeds to take root in. So it keeps seeds from sprouting, but anything you intentionally put there is gonna grow amazing. This method is seriously the ultimate survival garden hack. It's worked super well for me. Let me know if you've tried it before. Be sure to follow me so you can check in on the progress. Here's the world's easiest way.
Hey guys, welcome to my beginner gardener series. We're going to start my garden in these containers that I brought from Walmart. They're about $7 each or so, so we're just going to wash them out with some soap and water. Next, we're going to drill some holes at the bottom around the bins, about 2 inches from the bottom and 2 inches apart. This allows for drainage. And next, I'm going to put some sticks and pine cones at the bottom of my bins. This will help with drainage as well. And for the next layer, I'm putting some pine straw. This will go in between the soil and the sticks and pine cones. And now you just put your soil on top, spread that on out, and give it a little water. In the first bin, I'm going to be putting some red bell peppers. I have some more red bell peppers. I thought it was a green, but that's all right. We're just going to do the rosemary right beside it. Next, we have some husky red tomatoes with my peppermint, putting the mint right beside it in that bin.
Bam!
And last but not least, we have some cucumber, oregano, and basil going in this last bin. And this is how we're looking, guys. Please let me know if you have any tips or tricks. They will all be greatly appreciated. Until next time, bye.
So I just learned that if you drill a hole into the side of your garbage can, it does something magical. All right, so just go ahead and drill yourself a little hole. I can get her in. Oh yeah. Okay, and then a little hole like that, just somewhere on the side of your garbage can so that it's hidden. And go get yourself a little garbage bag. Put her in there. All right, now go find yourself a vacuum and use the hole. And put it into the hole here. And it's going to start suctioning in the bag. See all the air coming out? Look at that. It suctions your bag right to the trash. So I just learned that.
We're going to water our entire garden with a $5 pot. This terracotta pot is porous, so water can come out the sides pretty easily. I've covered the hole in the middle with special moldable glue. And if we bury it in the garden, as the soil dries out, it's going to pull moisture from the inside of the pot to the outside. Kind of like magic. An 8-inch pot like this can water up to 2 feet away on all sides, and only needs to be filled every 2 to 5 days depending on your climate. Plus it eliminates water loss due to surface evaporation, and it encourages plants to develop stronger root systems. We're going to water our entire garden with...
This time of year, my herb garden is generally looking pretty sad. But with AeroGarden,
When I planted my onions back in May, I was told by dozens of people on social media that I was doing it wrong. But here I am in late August harvesting big, beautiful onions. Here's the thing about onions. How you plant them, when you plant them, and what variety you grow are very dependent on your zone, frost date, latitude, and even your exact microclimate. In some places, you should plant before your last frost date, and as it slowly warms up, your onions will grow. Where I live, the temperatures swing very wildly in the early spring. One day could be 70 degrees, and then a week later, temperatures are back in the 20s with the ground freezing again. When I tried planting early 2 years ago, I didn't get any onions. My starts just couldn't handle the flip-flopping weather. In some latitudes, you grow short-day onions, others day-neutral onions, and in latitudes like mine and further north, long-day onions. I tried day-neutral onions last year, taking some bad advice, and my onions were all golf ball sized or smaller. So this year I went back to long day onions, started indoors in January, and transplanted into the garden after my last frost date. I planted 97 onions in about 20 square feet, and here they are. Well, most of them, because I stopped buying onions about 2 weeks ago, and I've been using them straight out of the garden. I used about 20 so far, and now that they're drying on my front porch, I'll probably use most of them up over the next month or so as I cook for the upcoming Jewish holiday season. When I planted my onions back in May, I was told by dozens of people on social...
This gardening hack is so simple and it works perfectly every time. What's the tip, I hear you ask? Well, Dad calls it the hair transplant. And that's because he leaves the back open with this very advanced piece of technology. Because the back's open, it allows all the cut grass to distribute evenly across the entire lawn. This is really good for enhancing grass growth in bald patches, hence why he calls it the hair transplant. This gardening hack is so simple and it works.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
How would they know? How would they know? How would they know?
I can't.
Oh my god. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know.
Don't throw away those nursery pots. You can save them and use them to double pot your tomatoes. First, you need to fill the bottom with your mixed soil. Take the top one, cut the bottom, and lay it on top. Measure and cut 4 sticks, place it on the bottom pot to secure the top one. Use a twine to tie it all together. It's that easy and your tomatoes will have room to grow and it'll save you costs on buying a bigger pot. Don't throw away those nursery pots.
You're probably going to be mad at yourself for not thinking of this sooner. I know I was. Instead of breaking your back moving heavy planters inside for winter, do this instead. If you leave these planters outside, the water in the soil will freeze and expand, causing your planter to crack. But if they're too heavy to move indoors, what are you supposed to do instead? Most of us probably just leave them and hope for the best. There is another way that doesn't involve tempting fate. You just tip it over. That's it. That's the trick. With the planter tipped over, water can't collect in the soil, keeping your planter safe for spring. Let me know if you'll try this out. You're probably going to be mad at yourself.
Do not put leaves on the bottom of your new raised bed until you watch this video. Adding leaves to the bottom of your bed can be a great way to fill it with organic matter slowly build great soil and also save money. But if you don't do it this way, you could end up with your soil level dropping within days of installing the garden. Install the leaves in layers about 6 inches at a time and compress the leaves and wet that layer down. Then you're ready to add the next layer of leaves. Do this until you've got about 8 to 10 inches left at the top of your raised bed. Then fill that with topsoil, sand, and compost. The soil level is still going to go down, but not nearly as quickly as it would if you forgot to compress and wet those leaves. I did this about 7 months ago, and the soil level in this bed has only dropped about an inch, and the plants are looking great. So now that you've watched this video, get out there, gather some leaves, and fill your raised beds.
Priceless homestead hacks in under 60 seconds. Trough under eaves stays full as long as there's plenty of rain. No watering time wasted on chickens. Simple, cheap PVC gravity feeder only needs filled approximately once a week for up to a dozen chickens. I'm not affiliated with this company, although if you help me blow this video up, maybe they'll contact me. American Hunter Deer Feeder. We fill it with chicken scratch, set it to spread twice a day, and I only have to fill it about once a week to feed our chicken scratch twice a day, every day. Solar operated chicken coop door. If you spend at least a couple $100s a year raising a dozen chickens and they all get killed, this is worth its price in gold. Cheap and easy duck pond that can be rinsed out and cleaned every couple days. Rebalance your soil with Macy Ranch Farms worm castings. And understand how with benefits of worm castings. Priceless.
Here's how to rejuvenate your container soil for the spring. First, put down a tarp or use a small kiddie pool and collect all your containers or grow bags. Next, dump all the old soil from last season out onto the tarp to create a big pile. Then, add 25% new compost. So if you dumped out 8 grow bags of soil, then grab 2 of them, fill them up to get your 25%, and then toss that on top of the pile. Using a shovel or pitchfork, mix the fresh compost into the existing soil, and then refill your containers or grow bags with the rejuvenated soil. And lastly, at the point of transplanting, dig a hole and sprinkle 1 handful of pure worm castings and 1 tablespoon of 444 organic fertilizer into the hole. Gently massage it into the soil and then pop your seedling into the transplant hole. Give it a good drink of water and you're ready to grow.
Did you know if you crush eggshells in a cup, empty out